Yeah, so that truck got stuck underneath the train station. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Yep. They're going to have to let the air out of those wheels. OpenAI is nothing without its people. OpenAI is nothing without its people. OpenAI is nothing without its people. Power to the people. People matter even in the biggest AI or in one of the biggest AI companies in the entire world. That means your jobs are secure. Even though Sam Altman, one of the biggest names in the whole entire AI industry, lost his job on Friday. Job security for him still looks pretty promising. I mean, he just got hired on Monday by Microsoft. Now, this whole entire saga with OpenAI over the past, few days is like a novela, which is a Spanish soap opera. And if you know anything about novelas, there's always a lot of drama involved. So I'm not going to unpack everything that's happened because by now you probably already read some of the headlines and seen some other videos on this. But I'm going to give you my take on it. And the statement that was sent by so many employees at OpenAI that OpenAI is nothing without its people, that's a very profound statement coming from such a large AI company, because it goes to show you how important people matter to the whole entire process of developing these platforms. Even as advanced as AI is, there's still a need for people. All right, so now let's start unpacking some of what happened, because again, there's so much coverage on this. And by the time I upload this video, honestly, who knows what else is going to come to light. We all know Sam Altman got fired by OpenAI on Friday. The board decided he was no longer going to be the CEO. And over the course of the weekend, now this is some next level stuff. So there's a lot of chess going on over here. There's a lot of poker playing going on over here. There's a lot of game theory. You have Sam Altman in one aspect, he's negotiating a comeback because a lot of people were very disturbed and very annoyed with the process and how he was let go. So there was an attempt to get him to come back to OpenAI over the weekend. But at the same time, he was also negotiating his entry into a new AI division in Microsoft. Now that's having two simultaneous conversations over the course of the weekend. Now that is mind-boggling, because if a person gets fired from a job, normally there's a time period where they go into almost like mourning, like, oh my God, what happened? But that didn't happen here. Instead, a lot of this unfolded on X, formerly known as Twitter, and let me tell you, it was a firestorm. You start seeing messages going left and right, people saying what happened. And the ultimate thing that transpired from this is that now, as of today, and again, this is going to change, it's very dynamic. It is a novella. 700 of the 770 employees at OpenAI sent a message that unless Sam Altman and Greg Brockman are brought back to OpenAI, they might resign. Now, who's the biggest winner in all this? You might think it's Sam Altman, and that's a fair assumption, but really it's Microsoft, because at the end of the day, Microsoft is a huge investor in OpenAI technology. They've invested up to this point about $13 billion. Now, that's a lot of money. So they have about 49% interest, and on Friday, their stock went down 1.7% because of the announcement of Sam Altman's firing. But by Monday, they reached an all-time high because they announced that they were going to bring on Sam Altman and Greg Brockman into a brand new AI division that they would have complete autonomy or independence to be able to work on the projects they wanted to work on. And the reason why Microsoft would do this is obviously they want to protect their investment, but also they really believe that the future of AI is dependent on some key personnel. And the fact that so many people at OpenAI sent a message in the form of a letter, and the shocking part of this is that one of the people that was, supposed or professed to be the cool leader in terms of ousting Sam Altman, Ilya Sutskever, he actually signed a letter. And this is interesting because you got to think about it. He, in one hand, is part of I believe it's a 5-member board. He voted to remove Sam Altman. and they have a little bit of a difference in ideology in terms of how AI should be approached. Ilya Sutskever wants to really focus on the research and development aspect of it and slow down the process of releasing these products to the public. Now, Sam Altman, on the other hand, he is about pushing this stuff out as fast as possible, make things fast and break things, but with his ultimate goal of pretty much testing it in production, which can always, potentially lead towards issues. So now you have two differences in ideology. So that's why people thought that Ilya was really responsible for this. And he wasn't the first person they blamed. They also blamed Mira Murati, who is the CTO of OpenAI, and she was temporarily named interim CEO. But then she came out on Sam Altman's team, on Team Sam. So that takes her off the list of the people who were pivotal in the coup d'etat. So you had Mira first blamed, and then you had Ilya first blamed, but then both of them are on Team Sam, because even though Ilya tweeted out or put out an X post or whatever you call it nowadays, who can keep up with this stuff, even though he said at first, we stand with the board's decision to remove Sam Altman, because we needed to make sure that we keep to the mission of OpenAI and developing AGI in a responsible way that benefits all humanity. So he puts out that tweet. And then he puts out another tweet saying that he regrets his position and his participation in the removal of Sam Altman from OpenAI. And then he signs on to this letter along with 500, and then it ballooned up to 700 people from a 770-person organization, saying that unless we get Sam Altman back and Greg Brockman back, that the board should be reconstituted and, everybody's going to leave. So at that point, the biggest winner, of course, is Microsoft, because they have an opportunity here to win or to win. And the reason why I say that is because, again, and I think this is like a big game of chess. You're thinking multiple moves ahead. I mean, they're making Magnus Carlsen seem like a rookie over here when it comes to how many steps ahead you can think. And they're making Daniel Negreanu or, some of the poker stars out there seem like amateurs when it comes to, bluffing, their moves. So they have everything they need to create a new AI division. So they could bluff big time if they wanted. And no matter what happens, they win. Because think about it. Let's think about a couple of scenarios over here. Let's say that Sam Altman and Greg Brockman do not go back to OpenAI, and they start off this new AI division within Microsoft. Obviously, they're throwing a lot of money into this, and Microsoft has all the resources they need to get it done. One, they have the hardware. You got to remember, the biggest issue when it comes to developing these large language models is the access to resources. And that's something that Microsoft doesn't have an issue with, because they have the platform, they have the data centers, they have the resources. They're going to spend $50 billion developing out data centers specifically for AI in the coming years. So that tells you they know what they're doing when it comes to this technology. They have the hardware. And they're developing their own TPUs, their tensor processing units, in order to specifically focus on AI processing. Because we know that processing these large language models and processing all the inputs from people all over the world and making sure that it can happen in a very fast and efficient way, it's not easy. It's very strained. It puts a significant amount of strain on the system, on the platform, on the data centers, on the bandwidth of the network, things of that nature. So they have the hardware. Now, Microsoft does have its own internal AI team, but now if they bring on a new AI team internally, and if so many people from OpenAI decide to leave OpenAI, then they're going to hit the ground running. There's not going to be really much of a lag time in terms of day one to day 100, first 100 days in the company. They will have a competitor to ChatGPT or to OpenAI that OpenAI would never dreamed of. Now, this is major news. This will be a major win for Microsoft. So that's scenario one. But now what about scenario two? What if Sam Altman and Greg Brockman go back to OpenAI? Well, they got that base covered too, because again, remember, Microsoft is a 49% stakeholder in OpenAI. They've invested $13 billion, and OpenAI only has one cloud provider that they rely on in terms of running ChatGPT and all of their large language models, and that's Azure. That's Microsoft. So no matter what, if OpenAI gets their act back together and they come back together and there's a meeting of the minds and they make amends, Microsoft still wins because they still have OpenAI on their platform. They're still a major investor in OpenAI, and I'm pretty confident there's going to be a major restructuring of how OpenAI functions. So that's a couple of scenarios that I think that Microsoft has been, toying around with in terms of their game theory, their strategies moving forward, because this is very dynamic, happened so fast, nobody saw this coming. And with so much talent at OpenAI, so many people that are really well known within the industry and really dedicated to developing artificial intelligence in a way that can be utilized by the masses and beneficial for the masses, wherever they land, that's going to be a win. But then you also got to remember that Microsoft needs to move fast in this process because there's other companies out there. You have Meta, you have Anthropic, you have Google, of course, with their AI division, which is, really a phenomenal division as well. They just came late to the game. OpenAI beat them. And, that's, being first in the game often is beneficial. And you have other AI organizations who are popping up that would benefit from poaching some of these developers and programmers onto their teams. So that's why I think that Microsoft is definitely looking at this very seriously, and that's why they offered Sam Altman and Greg Brockman and the senior researchers who are jumping ship from OpenAI to go with Sam Altman. They're going to offer them independence and autonomy and all the resources they need, billions of dollars to get started. Now, some people would say, why would Sam Altman want to go work at another company instead of forming his own company? Because it was also rumored that he was going to start up a new AI company. Well, you got to think about it this way. Elon Musk, he started XAI, right? Even with his deep pockets, even with as much access to technology that he has, he still required a certain amount of time to get started. I mean, he's the wealthiest guy in the world with access to a brain trust that is really top notch. And it still took some time. And raising the capital, even if you are independently wealthy, isn't easy. And you got to remember the headlines that there is a chip shortage still. There is a backlog in people and organizations trying to purchase some of these GPUs from NVIDIA in terms of, building out their servers to process all this, AI technology and the large language models. So in order to put something together fast, it'll be extremely expensive unless you already have the infrastructure to get it done. So that's why I think that, Sam Altman doesn't really want to start up a new division or a new company. I think it's better and easier for him, per se, to go on to Microsoft's team because it'll give him the chance to just get started on day one, especially if he's going to have so many people go with him. And now some people may say, well, wait a minute. If AI is so advanced, and there was a rumor that AGI was achieved internally at OpenAI, where they were able to achieve artificial general intelligence. And if they were able to do that, then why would they even need a team? And again, that goes to show you, OpenAI or any tech company is nothing without its people. People matter. Your jobs are secure. As long as you learn how to work with AI, whether you're developing AI models or if you're utilizing AI properly to help you in your process of developing new code. So you just have to learn how to use this tool, because AI, as advanced as it is, it's not at the point, and it's probably not going to be at the point for another decade or so. And that's been noted by multiple people. Some people saying it's going to come as early as 2029, and some people saying that it's going to be more by 2030 or a little bit later. But that goes to show you that people still matter in terms of the process of, developing these tech platforms and tech companies and stuff. They're still going to need these developers in order to get the job done. And it's just going to be a difference in the way they operate. Make sure the camera didn't shift too much. So that's the novella that's taking place. You have 700 people in the organization who are demanding that Sam Altman comes back to OpenAI. It's a Spanish soap opera. It's a lot of drama. A lot of things are unfolding as we speak. So by the time I upload this video, who knows if Sam Altman's going to be the head of a new AI division in Microsoft with a lot of independence and ability to do as he wishes, or if he's going to be back at OpenAI and there's going to be a brand new board constituted where there'll be a smoother workflow. Now, you got to remember, this all comes down to how do you manage the organization. OpenAI's original mission, it was a not-for-profit. It is a not-for-profit structure. That's the way it's structured. And the mission is to help achieve AGI that's beneficial to the masses. Now, Sam Altman was able to create a for-profit division because they got to raise money. At the end of the day, you got to buy processing units. You got to buy GPUs. You got to buy CPUs. You got to buy data servers in order to run these programs on. You have to hire developers and programmers and engineers. And you want to get the top minds in the industry who are the forward thinkers and who understand how all of this works. So that costs money. Even if some of these people are some of the wealthiest people, they still have to somehow earn a living. So that costs money. So there is a for-profit arm so they can raise capital, raise funding, buy servers, and pay for some of the personnel. So then you have in that capitalism at work. You have part of the team, part of the board, wanted to keep it really focused on research and development and be slow to roll out new aspects of the technology. And then you had other parts of the organization who really wanted to put their foot on the gas pedal and say, let's just go as fast as we can, like we're an F1 racer over here, and just really push a lot of new tools out there and see how it works, move fast and break things type of mentality. And sometimes you have a clash of ideologies, and sometimes that can cause divisions. But who knows ultimately what's going to win out. Now, I do believe that at the end of the day, Sam Altman is going to be okay. I don't see him going to be hurting in any way, shape, or form. I believe that OpenAI is going to really have to rethink how they operate in terms of managing the organization, because while it is a not-for-profit, there's a lot of investments made by a lot of different companies, Microsoft being one of them, but Thrive being another, and there's other companies as well that want to make sure they get a return on their investment. They're investing heavily in OpenAI. And if they don't do things correctly, they're going to leave themselves open to lawsuits. And that can be detrimental even further. Now, imagine, some people said that Microsoft might just buy out OpenAI outright, and that most likely cannot happen because of the charter, the way that OpenAI is structured with the not-for-profit. But again, if 500, 700 of OpenAI employees decide to jump ship and go with Sam Altman and Greg Brockman to Microsoft, then you don't need the actual label of the company. You don't need the company name. You need the people. You need the know-how. You need the infrastructure. And that's something that lies within the computing hardware and with the people behind OpenAI. All right, so that's a lot that we covered. And, there's a lot of, talk taking place of what is the latest in terms of, how is this going to impact ChatGPT? What's going to happen with the next AI models? Is GPT-5, going to be released anytime soon, or is it going to be delayed significantly because of all of these issues? So many conversations. By the time I upload this video, everything's going to have changed, and, I'll probably have to make an update. All right, so that's a lot. That's the Spanish soap opera called a novela, with a lot of drama. And the cast of characters are Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, you have Ilya Sutskever, you have Mira Murati, you have Emmett Shear, who is the new CEO, who is the former CEO of Twitch, and he's apparently the new interim CEO of OpenAI. And you have so many characters like Adam D'Angelo, who's the CEO of Quora, and he had a competing project with Poe. So many things are happening. So many cast of characters, so many people involved. And at the end of the day, when people are involved, trouble happens. Something happens. There's always going to be issues. And now, is this going to ultimately be a good thing for AI? Or is it going to be a bad thing for the advancements of the advancement of this technology? Is there going to be a slowdown because of people changing positions? Or is there going to be a quick turnaround where either it's business back to normal in terms of OpenAI bringing back the team, or just them going to Microsoft, and again, because it's the whole team, it's business as usual? Who knows? We shall see. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification icon. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions, leave them down below. And as always, thanks for watching. And if you're a coder or programmer, happy coding, happy programming. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.